Hello students, today we are going to discuss class 9, chapter 9, force and laws of motion. This is the NCERT textbook. You can see as it is already described in the previous chapter, we have described about the motion of an object along a straight line in the terms of its position, velocity, acceleration. Means already we have discussed about these things in the previous chapter. In the motion I have already taught you about what is velocity, what is acceleration, and what are the equations of motion, right? And we have also discussed about the uniform and non-uniform accelerations. We have not yet discovered the cause of the motion. Why does the speed of an object change with time? Do all motions require a cause? If so, what is the nature of the cause? In this chapter, we shall make an attempt to quench all such curiosities. Well, see, really, we have studied in the previous chapter about the equations of motion, but really, why motion happens? What were the rules of motions? For many centuries, the problems of the motion and its causes has puzzled scientists and philosophers. A ball on the ground, when given a small hit, does not move forever. Such observations suggest that rest in the natural state of an object. This remained the belief until Galileo Galilei and Isaac Newton developed an entirely different approach to the understand motion. See, first of all, remember, we must have curiosity about the questions. Whenever we are reading anything, that time we must have some questions. As you can see here, first of all, after completing the motion chapter, as we have got the information about the acceleration, we have got the information about the velocity, speed, uniform, non-uniform motion, accelerations, everything we have learned. Now question is, why these things happen? So every time you must think, whatever you are reading, you must have a concept. So to solve this puzzle, many of the philosophers and scientists have gone through the natural states of object, why natural state of object, why any object moves, what happens, what do we do so any object moves. Means Galileo Galilei and Isaac Newton, they have developed an entirely different approach to understand the motion. Means these two persons, Newton and Galileo Galilei, so they both have find a result about this. You can see here this boy, right? Is it visible, this boy? He is pushing the trolley. The trolley moves along the direction we push it. Why this trolley is moving? Here the drawer is pulled. You can see in the table we are having a drawer. If we pull our side, why does it move? The hockey stick hits the ball forward. Why? Pushing, pulling, or hitting objects, they change their state of motion. They are asking you a question. Do they really change the state of motion? Now you see here the answers. In our everyday life, we observe that. What do we observe? Can you tell me? Some effort is required to put a stationary object into motion or to stop moving object. Yes, definitely. As we burn, means every time we require something. See here, as it is already described, you can see in our everyday life, what happens in our everyday life? We have to do something. For doing something, you can understand that we have to stop anything, we have to move anything, we have to pull anything, we have to push anything. We ordinarily experience these as a muscular effort and say that we must push or hit or pull on an object to change the state of motion. Means if we have to change the states of motion, then we have to at least either we have to push it or we have to pull it. We have to hit it or we have to pull it to change the states of motion. The concept of force is based on the push, hit, or pull. Let us now ponder about a force. What is force? What is it? In fact, no one has seen force, no one have tasted the force, or no one have felt a force. However, we always see or feel the effect of a force. It can only be explained by describing what happens when a force is applied to an object. Pushing, hitting, and pulling of the objects are always of bringing objects in motion. They move because we make a force act on them. From our studies in earlier classes, we are also familiar with the fact that a force can be used to change the magnitude of velocity of an object. That is to make the object move faster or slower, or to change its direction of motion. We also know that a force can change the shape and size of the object. You can see here, as you can see in the A figure, the spring can be stretched. A spring expands on application of force. A spherical rubber ball becomes oblong as we apply force on it. So as we have just understand about the concept of force, why and after doing what this force changes the shape or the motion, it gives motion to an object. As you can see here, all the four figures, these four figures describe that after pushing, pulling, hitting, kicking, the shape or the state of the object changes, right? Now, the two types of force, as in the previous video, I had explained you about the balanced and unbalanced force. It shows a wooden block on a horizontal table. Two strings X and Y are tied to the two opposite faces of the block as shown. If we apply a force by pulling the string X, the block begins to move to the right. Similarly, if we pull the string Y, the block moves to the left. But if the block is pulled from both sides with equal force, the block will not move. Such forces are called balanced force and do not change the state of rest or of motion of the object. Now let us consider a situation in which two opposite forces of different magnitude pull the block. In case, the block would begin to move in the direction of the greater force. Thus, the two forces are not balanced and the unbalanced force acts in the direction the block moves. This suggests that an unbalanced force acting on an object brings it in motion. Now question is, what brings a motion? Here see, as here there is, just suppose this is a stone. In this stone, both the sides on a horizontal line, they have tied a thread, rope. Now you can see as on the X direction and on the Y direction. So just suppose that on both the sides, if we pull or push with the same force, just suppose the X direction and in the Y direction. This is X direction and this is Y direction. In both the direction, the two persons are pulling in their own direction with the same force. Now this object will not be in motion. Wherever it is, it will remain at the same position. But if X has greater force than Y, then the Y side, this object will move, right? Means unbalanced force cause motion. Are you getting or not? Unbalanced force cause motion. What happens when some children try to push a box on a rough floor? If they push, see here, these are the two children, they are pushing the box on the rough floor. What happens? If they push box with a small force, the box does not move because of friction acting in a direction opposite to the push. This friction force arises between the two surfaces in contact, in this case, between the bottom of the box and the floor's rough surface. It balances the pushing force and therefore the box does not move. The children push the box harder, but the box still does not move. This is because the friction force still balances the pushing force. If the children push the box harder, still the pushing force becomes bigger than the friction force. There is an unbalanced force, so the box starts moving. What happens when we ride a bicycle? When we stop paddling, the bicycle begins to slow down. This is again because of the friction force acting opposite to the direction of the motion. In order to keep the bicycle moving, we have to start pedaling again. In thus appears that an object maintains its motion under the continuous application of an unbalanced force. However, it is quite incorrect. An object moves with a uniform velocity when the force, pushing force and frictional force acting on the objects are balanced and there is no net external force on it. If an unbalanced force is applied on the object, there will be a change either in its speed or in its direction of its motion. Thus, to accelerate the motion of an object, an unbalanced force is required, and the change in its speed or in its direction of motion would continue as long as this unbalanced force is applied. However, if this force, just suppose here these two kids are there, these two kids were pushing this big box as they were applying a little bit force, as they were applying the little bit force, but the friction force was greater than these two students' force. So this box was not able to move. After then they had tried a little bit harder, but then also the frictional force was greater than or equivalent to this two. So that's why then when these two students had applied a greater force, now the frictional force become less than this two student force. So these objects are able to move. As the examples given in the previous page, that if you are riding a bicycle, if you stop paddling, the cycle stops. Why? Because the frictional force becomes greater than your force. So the bicycle starts stopping. But if you again continue paddling, so you will see your bicycle is running, right? So here as it is written, however, if the force is removed completely, the object would continue to move with the velocity it has acquired till then. Means if you remove the force till wherever the object would continue to move with the velocity it has acquired till now. Now there are first law of motion. As in the previous video I had explained you what is first law of motion. Until and unless an external force is not applied on an object, it will not move. Either it will remain in the rest or in the motion as it is. Got it? So let us describe according to the NCERT what is first law of motion. By observing the motion of objects on an inclined plane, Galileo deduced that objects move with a constant speed when no force acts on them. He observed that when a marble rolls down an inclined plane, its velocity increases. Its velocity increases. In the next chapter, we'll learn about the marble fall under an unbalanced force because of the gravity. Means our next chapter name is gravitation. So in that chapter, we'll read about it. As it rolls down and attains a definite velocity by the time it reaches the bottom. Its velocity decreases when it climbs up. As you can see here, its velocity increases from A to, as you have seen in the slope whenever you are riding a bicycle. When the slope comes, if you do not paddle, then also your bicycle speed increases. But if you want to go on the slope, then you have to give a greater force than only your bicycle will be able to move. So here it is written the same concept. So you can see here, you will learn that the marble falls under the unbalanced force because of the gravity as it rolls down and attains a definite velocity. By the time it reaches the bottom, its velocity decreases when it climbs up, as you can see here, shown as a marble resting of an ideal frictional less plane inclined on both the sides. Frictional less means they are not having any friction, they are very much plain. Got it? So you can see here, as the ideal frictional planes incline on both the sides, the Galileo argued that when the marble is released from the left, it rolls down the slope and go up on the opposite side of the same height from which it was released. If the incline of the plane on both the sides are equal, then the marble will climb the same distance that is covered while rolling down. If the angle of the inclination of the right side plane were gradually decreased, then the marble would travel further distance till it reaches the original height. If the right side plane were ultimately made up of horizontal, That is, the slope is reduced to zero. The marble would continue to travel forever, trying to reach the same height that it was released from. The unbalanced force of the marble in this case are zero. It thus suggests that an unbalanced external force is required to change the motion of the marble. But no net force is needed to sustain the uniform motion of the marble. In practical situation, it is difficult to achieve a zero unbalanced force. This is because of the presence of the frictional force acting opposite to the direction of the motion. Thus, in practice, the marble should stop after traveling some distance. The effect of the frictional force may be minimized by using a smooth marble and a smooth plane and providing a lubricant on top of the planes. See, actually what they want to say. They want to say you, as they have lived from here this ball, as they have dropped it, so it had came very easily without applying any force, it has already fallen down. Now question is, as if the same force they have fallen down. So it should go, actually the distance is also same, slope is also the same, but why it is not going up? Question is that. If I released from here, it automatically come down, then why it is not going to up? Then you will say, here sir, we require more force. But why it have came down? Because here the frictional force or gravitational force is more than this ball. So now question comes here. Newton further studied Galileo's idea on the force and motion and represented the three fundamental laws that govern the motion of object. These three laws are known as Newton's laws of motion. So what is the concept of this motion? Newton's laws of motion. Got it? The first law of motion is state that, remember, you must underline this line, an object remains. You can see here, you can just underline, an object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state of an applied force. An object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. In other words, all objects resist a change in their state of motion. In a qualitative way, the tendency of undisturbed object to stay at rest or to keep moving with the same velocity is called inertia. So in the previous video I had described you about what is inertia. Here it is written, undisturbed object to stay at rest or to keep moving with the same velocity is called inertia. This is why the first law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. If anybody will ask you what is the first law of motion, you can say it is law of inertia. What is it? It is law of inertia. Because what is the law of inertia? Law of inertia states that when an undisturbed object to stay at rest or to keep moving with the same velocity. Means if the object is moving, so it will keep moving. If the object is at rest, so it will be at rest. There will be no change. So this is the law of inertia. This is the first law of motion. Got it? Further, we will describe more about the first law of motions, more thing, and the second law of motion. Let us read a little bit about the inertia. In the other words, all objects resist a change in their state of motion. In a qualitative way, the tendency of undisturbed object to stay at rest or to keep moving with the same velocity is called inertia. This is why the first law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. Here there are some examples they have explained to you. In the next video, I will talk about the second law of motion. I will complete today till page number 116. Certain experiences that we come across while traveling in a motor car can be explained on the basis of the law of inertia. We tend to remain rest with respect to the seat until the driver applies a brake force to stop the motor car. With the application of the brakes, the car slows down, but our body tends to continue in the same state of motion because of its inertia. A sudden application of brakes may cause injury to us by impact of collision. You can see here, as they are telling you about, if any object is in rest or keep in motion. If a car driver drives his cars continuously, So what do you think that if you are sitting backside, so you are in the position of rest and car is in the position of motion. If until and unless the car driver applies a brake on it, as it applies a brake on it, now you will see as you were in the rest, you will be in the motion. But because the motion object has suddenly it stops, so you will see that you will move forward ahead. So that's why whenever any object is in motion or at rest, they applies to be in motion or rest. That law is called law of inertia, that is the law of motion. For more ahead, we'll describe in the next video. That's all for today. I hope all of you have liked, and this was our chapter. What was our chapter name? Can anybody tell me? The chapter name was Force and the Laws of Motion. That's all for today. Thank you very much.